World Cup now. Let's round up what's been going on. Now, we have John Sopel, who's out there. He's staying strong. He's had to spend a lot of his time on Copacabana Beach. It's been tough. John, so good to see you're in fine fettle and good spirits. Let's talk about the host, shall we?
Or do you want to just talk about Copacabana Beach?
We could do that too.
Okay, let's talk about the host. It was a fantastic game of football, but it was tense. And the Mexican goalkeeper, Ochoa, I reckon that if the Brazilians had fired an intercontinental ballistic missile at him, he would have somehow managed to climb up into the sky and intercept it. He just had one of those games where everything went right, and despite Brazil piling on the pressure, they couldn't break down the Mexican goalkeeper, who had just had one of those dream 90 minutes that people will talk about for some time to come yet. That was undoubtedly the standout fixture of yesterday. I suspect the standout fixture of today is going to be Spain taking on Chile, where Spain will be hoping to put their World Cup back on track after the kind of humiliation that was inflicted on them by Holland in one of the opening games of the World Cup, and one of the really big shocks that the World Cup holders should be defeated like that. Go down to Chile and, you know, they're hanging on in this World Cup by a thread. Well, I'm joined by Alejandro Tortoriello from Band TV. Thank you very much for coming up to our live point so early in the morning, 8:20 in the morning here. How did you see the game last night, Brazil-Mexico?
It was a disappointment for me, from 200 million Brazilians, because we expected to see more. We expected to see a champion playing. We didn't saw that. We didn't see it. We saw the Mexican goalkeeper playing brilliantly. He wouldn't let the ball in.
He wouldn't let the
anything.
Ball. But was there the creativity by the Brazilian midfield, the Brazilian attackers, that the country expects?
No, not at all. We didn't see the beautiful game. There wasn't a beautiful game in Brazil. It was kind of. You could expect what they were doing, what they're going to do. You didn't see Neymar in a brilliant play as in Argentinian game against Bosnia. Argentina didn't play well, but Messi had his moment. Neymar didn't have this moment.
Is that because the Brazilian side this year is maybe just not in the same class as, you know, the great teams of before?
Could be. Maybe we lack some experience. We don't have much experienced players. We do have some players, many of the players, they play in Europe, they play in big teams, but they don't have World Cup experience. So, and that's a different thing.
Let's talk a bit about the national mood. Okay, disappointment last night. There'd been a lot of talk in the run-up to this World Cup that it would be marked by a lot of protests. Now, there was a protest on the opening day in Sao Paulo, which was very violently dealt with. We haven't really seen much in the way of protests since then. Is that because the people are kind of more interested in football, or why aren't there people on the streets?
Well, in June last year, we had millions in the streets protesting against the government, against politicians. We had children, we had elderly people. We didn't see them anymore. It's not only because of football, because the protests are violent. You see, there are small minorities taking part of the protest. They are almost hijacking the protest. So demonstrators who want to freely demonstrate their angry or their disappointment with the government, they are not there because they don't want to get hurt. So
it's not that the people have suddenly become happy. It is because that if they fear that if they go to a protest on either side, you know, whether it's tear gas or people throwing things, then they could get hurt.
Yeah, you have tear gas on the one side, you have petrol bombs from protests on the other side. So if you want to protest peacefully, there's no place for you.
And I suppose all the time that Brazil is still in the World Cup, then people are going to stick to the football rather than the protesting.
Yeah, you have some other things to pay attention to.
Yeah, exactly. Alejandro, thank you so much for being with us. A lot more still to come from us here in Rio. But now, Naga, back to you in your lovely studio in central London.
Yeah, it's tough. I know you're really jealous that I'm here and you're there, John. Thanks ever so much. See you soon. OK, so for many fans, a ticket to the World Cup would be just a dream. But one football-mad couple from India has seen this dream come true. Not once, not twice, but 8 times already. The BBC caught up with the pair in Calcutta as they were packing for their 9th World Cup and looking back on competition.